Andrew McGahan for the MacLife.com here in SBG Concord, sitting alongside Artem Lobov. Artem, I did an interview last night where I was sitting as well. I could definitely get used to this, so hopefully we won't be standing together too much in the future.
Well, I mean, we've known each other for a long time, so I guess we just get nice and comfortable and just have a chat.
Unfortunately, the bean bags were taken, so we couldn't do an interview over there, but how have you been?
Yeah, very good. I've been training hard now, I've been looking to fight for a long time, looking for a fight, so my prep has started a while back and I'm feeling good and can't wait for my next fight.
I often find it's interesting, even normally I chat with the person, but since you fought Andre Fili, he's fought. What did you make of his last performance? Because there was a little bit of questions around it, or did you see it?
Yeah, I did see it. I mean, yeah, it was a close enough fight. When the fight is that close, it's kind of hard to say. I think there should be no hard feelings. Even if you end up on the wrong end of the decision, I mean, you're in the fight. It's close. What can you say? It certainly wasn't a robbery. I definitely don't think that. Close fight. So, well done to him.
You have probably had one of the most active Christmas periods of your life. You spent a large part of it back in Russia. You've been back in Russia. I don't understand all of your Instagram stories, unfortunately, because you're not doing the English versions of them as well. What has that been like for you? We'll get on to the bigger details soon, because I know you've had a great time, but it's just the experience of being back.
It's been incredible. I've been to Russia more and more often. I'm establishing that connection, and hoping to build a big connection between Russia and Ireland, in the future. These two countries are very dear to me. I can't pick between them. Like I said, I was born in one, I was forged in the other. Ireland has given me many opportunities in this life, and I never forget that. So it would mean a lot for me to have these countries, as friends as well. I feel that Russian people and Irish people have a lot in common on many fronts. So to me, it would mean a lot to me to see these two countries as brothers in the future.
What about all of the talk that maybe the UFC are looking to get into Russia? Now, I know that is maybe further down the line. You're looking to fight maybe even once or twice before that to begin with. But do you think this is a distinct possibility? Because for years we would have heard how the UFC could never get into mainland Russia, how it would never happen. But now it seems to be on the cusp.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see that UFC have finally, been able to move into Russia. It's a very, very big and important territory for them. Russian people absolutely love, MMA. A national hero, Fedor Emelianenko, is a big reason for that, as well as our president that has always, supported mixed martial arts and fighters. So it's good to see, UFC finally making its way into Russia. I will certainly do everything in my power to be on that card.
And it's good to see Artem Lobov make his way into the Russian government as well. That was, when I woke up and I seen that story, Artem Lobov trained special forces in Kremlin, I thought I was still asleep. I was like, that's a sentence that I never thought that I would hear put together. How did that come about? Did you get an official invite?
Yeah, I got an invite from one of the members, and it was such an honor for me. It's not something I ever expected to do or even be there. I remember as a kid, just 5-year-old, standing outside of Kremlin and just looking and listening to my mom, tell me stories, and it was just unbelievable to actually go in and show these guys, whatever I know, and hopefully they've enjoyed it. They all already were very, trained professionals, and they could just as easily have shown the seminar for me,
What were the facilities like? The facility, like the matted area and stuff that you were training on, looked amazing, but I assumed everything outside of that was outstanding as well.
It was incredible, yeah. Like I said, I've never really been inside there before, and just to see such a historic place, so many very important meetings have taken place, in Kremlin throughout history. It was just, for me, it was just an incredible experience and something that I will never forget and will treasure that memory for the rest of my life.
Do you think there could be a part 2 if the UFC comes back to Russia?
I certainly hope so. I definitely would never say no. It would be an honor, like I said, and I would be there in a heartbeat. So if I get an invite again, I for sure will be there.
What is the future like for Artem Lobov? Is there a fight? I know that there's talk of a fight. I don't want to say it's signed. I'm going to let you. Is it signed, or what's the story with that?
Yeah, the contract is signed and sent, and I guess it's just a matter of days before the fight gets officially announced. But I can't say that I will be fighting in New York. So that's as much as I can tell at the moment. I'm very excited to be on that card.
Are you excited to go back to New York? I know that for the 205, that was a historic occasion.
Yeah, to be honest, actually, I ended up missing that fight because remember I had my own fight in Belfast a week after.
Oh, yes.
So after a long conversation with Conor, we have decided back then that I wasn't going to go to that. The prep was already finished. So it would have probably been more damaging for me to travel back and forth right before my fight. So back then we decided to stay back, and it was the right decision. I ended up getting the win, and Conor got the win as well. So looking back, that was the decision that needed to be made.
It seems that New York could be potentially very good. I understand there's a large Russian community in New York as well. Would you be expected, irrespective of opponent, to be the hometown favourite when it comes to it?
I mean, to me, I feel New York is half Irish, half Russian, basically. So I would expect to have big support on that card. For sure, but and it's always nice to hear the support. It's great. I really kind of, for the first time, really felt it in Belfast. When I fought in Belfast, I felt the support and how uplifting it can be. Most of my life, I ended up fighting whether in Poland or throughout Europe, and I was always the away guy, the underdog, the hated guy, getting booed, on my way in, and that didn't really bother me. But it is great, hearing those cheers, and it certainly, it uplifts you and gives you extra energy in there.
We'll finish on this because I know that we will speak when the fight gets announced and closer to the fight. But I want to get your take on one thing in particular. You're a guy that has always left it in the cage, no matter what. Now, John and the rest of SVG have developed something recently through the sparring system, how you do. It's the phrase that he always says about upgrading the hardware or software without damaging the hardware. This past weekend in the UFC, Mario Yamasaki came under a little bit of controversy over the stoppage. The corner came over a little bit, or lack of stoppage. The corner came under a bit of controversy. As a fighter, what's your thoughts on that? Do you want to be given every opportunity, or would you appreciate John or whoever was doing your corner looking out for you and saying, that's it, we're done?
It's a very hard one, to be honest. As a fighter, you obviously never want, I certainly never want my fight stopped or a towel thrown, anything like that. So, it's very hard for me to see that. But I guess, the position that the girl was in, she was on mount bottom, stuck, unable to do anything, when she was just turning her face away. That's not really trying to defend yourself anymore, intelligently anyway. So, based on that, I would say that the fight needed to be stopped, a lot sooner than that. There's a difference when somebody's just taking a big shot, but they're still recovering and they're moving and they're on their feet or whatever, or when somebody's absolutely stuck on mount bottom and they just cannot get out. And the shots were big. Sometimes people get stuck on a crucifix, and the other person kind of chose those little shots, little elbows. Maybe not there. You wouldn't get stopped, even though the other person is also stuck. But in that situation, I probably would have stopped the fight for sure. But this is where a very, very experienced referee needs to be in place, because it's such a difficult situation. There's no really the exact rule in there. You have to. The referee has to be fully aware and fully understand what is going on in there and be able to break it down and make the right call. It's not an easy job by any means. So
it seems like it's often down to interpretation more than anything.
Exactly.
You do trust the fighter in there to keep the fighter safe. But
absolutely, but I guess in that particular fight, I do feel it should have been stopped sooner.
Perfect. Artem, it's probably going to be announced as soon as this interview goes live, but we'll see you before New York, and best of luck in your fight.
Thank you very much.